Morning. Well, it's day 19. It's been about 2 hours since I took my medication. It's possibly a little over 2 hours since I took my medication. Slept like a baby last night. In fact, I only just took my meds on time. I slept that much. I slept that well. Yesterday was a bit of a weird one. Um, it was kind of up and down, up and down, up and down all day. Like 1 minute I was fine, the next minute I was feeling tired. I was kind of getting conflicting messages. Um, and it got to about 2:30 in the afternoon, and I actually felt like I was going to faint. You know, from that, and it just scared the hell out of me. But I'm okay now. I managed to get a good night's sleep last night, so I'm hoping that that was just a blip. Um, I've already had breakfast. I've actually been quite productive already this morning because I got some vacuuming done just now. I've just finished it. I'm going to be going off to therapy in a bit well, I say in a bit, it'll be this afternoon, between 3 and 5, most probably. I may possibly go to the first session as well. I'll see how I feel. But yeah, I'm in quite good spirits this morning so far. Obviously, apart from a touch of tiredness. So plans for today, as I say, I've got therapy this afternoon, so I'll be going over to that. I need to go back to the doctors, I think, early next week to discuss my progress on medication and to talk about, obviously, me coming off it, gradually, which is good. I mean, I've noticed I still get stomach pains and stuff from time to time, and I'm either constipated or the opposite. It's kind of weird. But I've been all right this morning when I've been to the bathroom, so I've actually been all right. Been pretty normal, so I can't complain on that front this morning anyway. But it's just a little bit strange. Like it's like my body's trying to tell me two different things, and I'm not sure what signals I'm meant to take notice of. If you know what I mean, it's kind of up and down and up and down and up and down. And it's quite scary actually. It's a bit, it kind of freaks you out. But as I say, I'm sure that this sort of rough patch that I've gone through the last 2 to 3 days is just a temporary one, because overall I still feel pretty good about things. I've not had a great deal of anxiety. I've had some, but I've not had a lot. And I have moments where I do go really, really quiet, and really thoughtful. Sometimes even on these vlogs that I post every day, you may notice I sort of stop and I pause and I kind of reflect on what I'm saying and things like that. It's just part and parcel, I think, of how the meds affect me. And some days, I'll be honest, some of my blog posts probably sound a little bit daft and a little bit out there, and possibly a little bit, cryptic and maybe even a little pretentious. But I don't care, because that's how I feel. That is exactly how I feel. I had a kind of a painful reminder of a bad experience I had many years ago now, when I found out about I discussed this in my blog entry yesterday afternoon, about about the death of Chris Hardman, aka Little Chris, who was in the docu-series Rock School about 9 or maybe 10 years ago. But anyway, that kind of echoed an experience that I went through about 18 years ago, when a friend of mine who was at university committed suicide, and I was only 22 years old at the time. And it took me a long time to deal with it, really, because he joked about taking his own life, and he was in the last time that I saw him alive was a few weeks before he died, because I'm sure it was coming up to the Easter holidays or something, and that's probably why. And this is back in 1997. I'm, as I say, I was 22, almost 23. He was a lot older than I was, and he kind of joked about, the last time I saw him, he kind of joked about being stressed and saying, "Oh, I've had an awful day today. I wish someone had just given me a pistol so I can end it all." And he laughed, he laughed about it. He was joking, and had a big grin on his face, and I was like, "Well, he's just kidding around, he's not serious, obviously." But then a month later, that's exactly what he did, and that was something that I never really got over. I don't really talk about it much, because it's kind of painful, and as I say, it was a long time ago now. It's been 18 years, but yeah, it's always hard when someone close to you, either a friend or a family member, takes their own life. It's always hard, because there are always loads of what ifs and if onlys and things like that, and some people cope quite well, others don't. Me, I'm sort of in between. Sometimes I'll cope well, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll get a trigger, I'll get a memory of some kind that will set me off, like yesterday, for instance. And it's tough. Sometimes it is tough, but what I have to remember is, and this is my advice to any of you going through a similar thing, either right now or you have done in the past, and that is, you have to let them go. Because whatever pain they were experiencing, they were obviously looking for a way to end that pain. They were looking for a way out, looking for an escape, looking not to suffer anymore. It's all very well for people to say, you shouldn't take your own life, it's selfish, what about the people you leave behind? Yeah, okay, agreed, but on the flip side of that, and this is something that I'm beginning to appreciate more and more as I go through this particular meds journey myself, and that is, you have to remember that person isn't in a stable frame of mind at that time, for whatever reason, and because of that, they are going to try and find ways to cope that perhaps aren't necessarily too healthy. But that's because they are acting on signals that their brain is giving them, or their brain is sending them. That their subconscious mind is telling them to do. And that's the thing about the subconscious. You don't realise that it's there. In terms of the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions, it's all very well for someone to turn around and say, "You should stop thinking like that, snap out of it, get over it, blah blah blah." Well, you try being that person and see how you feel. I mean, I actually think that the vast majority of people in this world have got some kind of a mental illness, right? They're just not brave enough to admit it. Now, I have been brave enough to admit it, and I'm getting help for it. But just because I've actually been really open about it and really vocal and come clean about a lot of my experiences, it doesn't make me weak. It doesn't. And it doesn't make anyone else in the same position weak either. If they do the same, it makes them strong. It makes them very, very strong indeed. The weakness is in thinking that, oh, I've got to carry on. What will people think? They'll make fun of me. I'll lose my friends. I'll lose my family. I'll lose this. I'll lose that. How do you know? You don't know that. You don't know that at all. And if you do lose those things, those people, or some of those people from your life, then they probably weren't that genuine anyway. They probably weren't worth being in your life in the first place. Now, in my own current experience, my family don't understand what I'm going through, not completely. But I don't hate them for it. I understand why they feel the way they feel. Because I came from a very tough love family. Always did. And whenever I had anything difficult to get through, I was always told, well, you just get on with it. But the trouble with that was, as the years progressed and I grew older, I'd got so used to just getting on with it, and getting on with it, and getting on with it, that those feelings that I needed, those emotions that I needed to get out, stayed in there, stayed locked inside of myself. And because of that, they got left. They built up, they built up, they built up, they built up, they escalated. And then, in October of last year, just kind of came to a head. And by January, I was pretty fucked. To coin a phrase. Sorry for the bluntness, but it's true. I was pretty fucked up by the beginning of January. And by the second week of January, I was off sick. And about 6 weeks after that, I was diagnosed with depression. So, this is why I've set up this group and these vlogs and everything else. This is why I'm doing it. To make you realise that you aren't alone. You have got support, and you have got help, and you have got a resource that you can go to that is impartial, that is non-judgmental, that is a safe, comfortable environment for you to express what it is that you're feeling. And, in my book, that's pretty good. I'm not trying to give myself a pat on the back. I'm not, because I'm trying to help myself as much as I'm trying to help anyone else as well. This is for my benefit as much as yours. But my reasoning for doing all of this is thinking, well, if I can benefit, other people can as well. And everyone deserves the same level of support that I've had. Everyone, regardless of their situation or their background. Everyone needs help from time to time. Everybody. I don't care who you are, I don't care how rich and powerful you are, everybody struggles with something. Everyone. But there are two types of people in that instance. There are those who are brave enough to admit it, and those who aren't. And the vast majority of people still aren't. So that's my message today, and this is a very, very long vlog. I know it's just past the 15 minutes mark, but I just felt like I had a few more things to say. But yeah, just take care, keep going with a smile, and I will speak to you soon. Okay then, bye bye.